Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Crypto Hour. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, coming across. Good, excellent. I need a volunteer for doing co-hosting to letting people in. Anybody volunteers?
I don't mind doing it, Luca.
Yeah. Okay. I will do that, Paul. I will make you co-host.
No problems.
Okay. You're now a co-host, Paul. Thank you very much.
No worries.
And yeah, let's start going into the news. I mean, it's been quite a turbulent week, and I mean, if you follow the prices, obviously, but yesterday we had quite a drop. A bit of a shock for everybody. So let's have a look and see why these things are happened. Okay, first of all, let's start looking at the chart. I did have this open, so okay, just give me a second. Let's get it up. Let's get the Bitcoin price live in a chart, and then we can have a look and compare it to other things to understand why prices moved in a certain way. Okay, so having a look at the blue line is the price of Bitcoin, and as we can see yesterday, it dropped quite dramatically from sorry, just a second. It dropped by quite dramatically, about 9%. So if we measure this drop, and I'll do it up to here because this is the obviously this we got at the same time the chart for the Standard & Poor's 500, which is a stock, the index that covers the top 500 stocks in the US. Okay, so we can compare the two. So we had a 8.5 drop in Bitcoin, and at the same time, sorry, let's measure again. At the bottom, it was up to 9% drop, and 4% in the S&P. Okay, for the same period. So as we discussed before, as you can see from if we go maybe to a kind of like a bigger time frame, as you can see that there is a high correlation between Bitcoin price and the Standard & Poor's S&P 500 price, and this goes back to, where are we? If we take it back to about the beginning of the year, you can have a look. What mainly is not that the lines should be together, but it's the direction of travel that it's similar. So we can see here, for example, one goes down, the other one goes down. One goes up, the other one goes up. So that's the kind of the things that we're looking at. Now, what you see also is that it's the movement in the S&P 500 is not as pronounced as the movement in Bitcoin price. Now, Bitcoin is a lot more volatile. It is seen as a more risky asset than the stock market. So when things go well, you will see the blue line above the orange line, and when things go badly, it's the opposite. Okay, and this is exactly, if we look at the very short terms of what happened yesterday, then we discuss, one drops 4%, the other one drops 9%. The other things, the other way around when things starts going well. Now, why this happened for both these assets is being dominated by macro reasons. So this year we've had announcements from in both the US and the UK of a raise in interest rates. Now, the interest rate announcements wasn't as bad as it could have been in the US. It was a 0.5 point increase in interest rates, and some commentators were thinking it could have been as high as 75 basis points, or 0.75%. So originally, actually, the market went up So if we see here, when after the announcement, the actual market went up rather than down, and then it moved to have a complete, almost like complete collapse in a kind of a risk-off move, dominated by cryptocurrency and by technology stocks in particular. And this is kind of like it goes in opposite direction to the strength of the dollar. So in the short term, the rise in interest rates has caused the dollar to go up. But this is not just because of the announcement this week, but also because there is, at the moment, like fear is dominating the market. And when fear dominates, then there is a flight to perceived safety. So historically, the dollar has been the safe asset that people have turned to in moments of uncertainty. Okay, and this is what's happening right now. So we've had announcement of interest rate rises, and also announcement of a tightening monetary policy from the US. That means there's going to be less money in circulation, while at the same time, the inflation is at the highest rate it has been for 40 years. Okay, so we are the same. So there is a real worry of what we call a stagflation situation. So we would say an economy that is stagnating, while at the same time having a high inflation. And this is kind of like obviously a big worry, because with high inflation, but the economy not producing more, obviously people have got need to spend more money of necessities and have less disposable income to buy things. And so there is then a reflection on companies that obviously sell their products to the public, and those company stocks are represented in the S&P 500. So lower results are expected from these companies, so people are less inclined to invest in the stock market, and that causes a decline in price. Also, on top of that, what we see, and if we go back to a kind of like a short-term chart to see what happened yesterday. I mean, for a movement like this to happen in a short space of time, let me just go into a candle chart where you can see this a little bit better. Okay, for a movement like this to happen, especially looking at this long red candle here, it represents a kind of, this is a 15-minute candle. So when the price dropped 3% in 15 minutes, which is a large amount. So this is caused by what is called liquidations. Okay, so when there are traders that are trading on leverage, so trading on borrowed money, and they are betting and the price will go up. Okay, when the price starts going in the opposite direction, then they are faced by margin calls. So they're saying the software that they use, the broker that they use to support the trade is saying you don't have enough money in the account to let you carry on this trade. So either you put more money in or you get liquidated. In many cases, when this happens, especially when it's as busy as this, traders have very little time to provide more liquidity. So what happens is that the accounts are liquidated automatically. Okay, and this is what happens because when, like in this case, the accounts are liquidated automatically, it just shows on the system as more sell order, and that increases the directions of travel, the velocity of direction of travel. Okay, so as the prices go down already, as you can see, then here the liquidation starts being triggered, and then the prices that really start dropping quickly. And that's how we get to to this point here, which was almost like an 1.5% drop on the day, which is a very large drop. And then, as you can see, once the money to be liquidated has run out, then prices stabilize. Okay, and they start going sideways for a while the market decides, what is the next direction that it wants to go to. Okay, so let's have a look at a few of the items. I mean, this is some. Oh, sorry, that's an article. So this is an article, for example, that's talking about the the drop, and how this is exactly describing what I've just told you, how the liquidation cascade has actually increased the speed of this drop. And we've had prices of things like Avalanche, Solana goes down by over well over 10%, 15 and 11% respectively. But it's been, I mean, if you look at the crypto prices, it's pretty much across the board. Look at if we look here, CoinGecko, for example, and we look at the list of all the different cryptocurrencies, you can see it's what is called the red day. So everything, look at the last 24 hours, and it's kind of like negative, 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 negative. The only green numbers that you see, which by the way, 0%, these are stable coins, which are designed, not to go up and down, but to stay stable. So this is, as you can see, it's completely across the board. It's nothing that actually survived this movement. Okay. And this is basically because they move away from risk assets and into safety. So just to make you understand why these things tend to happen. Okay, on talking about now kind of like separate things, and while the price is doing this, at the same time. At the same time, there has been institutions that have followed this by, say, coming out of exchange traded products, okay, which is a way that institutions use to get into, cryptocurrency investments, because they cannot invest in it directly. Okay, so the price is going down. These are exchange traded products, so they are traded in the stock market, like ETFs and other type of funds that invest in cryptocurrencies. But at the same time, the accumulation of spot Bitcoin, so the real Bitcoin, has carried on in the market. Okay, so there has been this imbalance between the price and the actually what the holders of Bitcoins are doing with their Bitcoins. Now, to understand that, now the Bitcoin holdings are mainly not moving. Okay, so people are not doing anything with their Bitcoins. They're generally taken away from exchanges and putting them in storage in the wallets, either on software wallets or offline in a ledger or Trezor cold storage wallet. Okay, but at the same time, the price is influenced by the trades. So the price is being dominated by the small percentage of Bitcoin that is being traded on exchanges, rather than by the large percentage that is being held off the exchanges. And but what is happening, time after time after time, the percentage of coins that are held on exchanges is going down. It's kind of like historic minimums. So almost like we are getting ready for the perfect storm. So and the moment where the purchases on the exchanges outperform then the selling, then there will be kind of like a huge spike in prices going up. And the sentiment from traders for what tended to happen yesterday is that it is an anomaly rather than an indication of the direction of travel. So, and often spikes precede the price starting to move in the other direction. So sometimes a big spike on the way down precedes a move up of the whole market. Now, if we look at what people do when they are things like inflation, although people understand how bad inflation is for their finances, most people actually do nothing. Okay, and if we know, there has been a survey done in the US of what people do to to fight the effects of inflation. although I say 94% of Americans are concerned about it, only 79% have taken no action, and only 14% have actually done something with their funds. And this is what people do with their funds. Okay, so 79% did nothing, 6% bought gold, 5.2 bought real estate, 3.4 bought silver, and 3.2 and 1.6 respectively bought Bitcoin and Ethereum. So this is significant because we are talking now, and this is real data. People they are overtaking. So like Bitcoin and Ethereum are overtaking Treasury inflation protected securities like treasuries in popularity as a hedge against inflation. Okay, and we're very close already. Bitcoin is very close to overtaking silver. And just behind, gold and real estate as a preferred hedge against inflation from people like you and me. Because when you're faced with 8-10%, depreciation of the money that's in your bank account, I know that most people do nothing, but some people start thinking, okay, how can I preserve the value that I have in my, in my dollar denominated account? So it is interesting to see that even in these periods of high uncertainty, people, most people actually do nothing. Okay, but if you can see that the people that do something increasingly are moving into cryptocurrency, so that's the signals that is interesting, because as this 79% starts moving, then a fraction, part of it will come into cryptocurrency assets, which is what we want to see. Okay, on crypto news itself, I just want to show you this kind of the Luna Foundation, which is the Terra's is the organization, non-profit organization behind Terra's stablecoin, which is called the UST. Is talked about buying Bitcoin to basically have as a backstop, to provide liquidity for the USD stablecoin in case of high demand, and they now amassed over 3 billion of Bitcoin in their treasury, surpassing Tesla as the second largest corporate holders of Bitcoin. Okay, and this is interesting as well, because it's now that crypto projects are getting big enough to kind of support each other from the point of view of investments, and it's a way that the kind of like it can be seen as the start of a virtuous cycle, kind of like a cryptocurrency. This is money that comes from the real world into cryptocurrency, and then is supporting other projects in the same environment. So it's a very positive move, both for Bitcoin, but especially for Terra. If you have Luna tokens, you would have noticed that they've done very well, lately. And part of it is kind of the trust that a move like this puts behind the UST stablecoin, which is already one of the most popular ones, together with Tether and USDC, and their aim is to become the main stablecoin. So which provides liquidity to a different number of cryptocurrency projects. Now on kind of different things, we have spoken before about Gucci and what they are doing in the metaverse. Now this is what they are doing in the real world. So they are letting people use cryptos to buy Gucci products in their stores, at least in a pilot program, not everywhere. It would start first in 5 of the US stores, and then move into other places as well. So the thing, the kind of the innovation is that they will pull prices from different crypto exchanges, so that they have a very accurate reflection of the price of Bitcoin at the point of payment. So so they know exactly what the exchange rate is between the price in dollars of their goods and the amount that the customers will have to pay in Bitcoin to buy those goods. Now they're not unique in their approach. There are other fashion houses like Off-White, for example. They announced in their stores in Paris, London, and Milan, they will accept Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance, Ripple, Tether, and USDC as payment options. Okay, so and the interesting thing about Gucci is that they're now combining this, and we know that with the NFTs that they have sold, now the owners of NFTs would have special access to pre-order a Gucci collection before it's released to the general public. So so this is the way how you use your your best customers in a way to then increase the exclusivity of the products that you offer, especially because Gucci being a luxury brand, so access early before, so instead of having to basically queue up with everybody else to get the latest Gucci luxury item, you can pre-order it with using your NFTs that you have previously bought. So this is the different way the NFTs can be used. So they're not just pretty pictures, but it unlocks a number of things that you can do with these NFTs. We've seen people use them as tickets to events. We've seen kind of like a way to use it to access exclusive content on, for example, there was another company that was using it for their cryptocurrency research, as and to access that research, you would have to have a particular NFT that was sold for an event. So there are all these different use cases that are being thought of, and many of those that will be prevalent next year probably haven't even been thought of at the moment. But it's such a vibrant and new way of doing business that it is changing all the time, and the companies that will succeed and stand the test of times, and the ones that are kind of like are innovating more in this field and then finding new way of attracting interest and experiences. Okay, so there's another one also that's interesting. Let me show you as we're talking about this. Spotify is a new entrance into the metaverse. Not necessarily in crypto in these cases, but they're going into a Roblox metaverse. Now, for those of you, maybe some of you will not have come across Roblox. For those of you that have children, especially young children, then you will know exactly what that is. But it's a very user-friendly metaverse, and the things that you will do, they launch in a Spotify island. So users will be able to perform interactive missions to unlock exclusive content from Spotify. So you can collect these kind of heart icons like a video game, and then exchange these for products. Also, you can give opportunity for interaction with artists. So it is also possible to create your own music powered by the Soundtrap software. And again, it's introducing, what this is doing is introducing a new way of interacting with the software, giving people more of an experience rather than just using the product itself to listen to music. Is creating kind of like an interactive world where people can connect and create new sounds together. Okay, so the way imagine social media now for music, okay, where people can actually get together and actually create music together. So these are all kind of new use cases that are coming out all the time, and as more companies are offering their services in the metaverse, then they create all these different use cases that just didn't exist before. Okay, simply because again, as we said before, is that people are spending more time online, more of their free time, I should say, online, than just being outside, going maybe looking at shops or doing sport or other activities. And this is a trend that's been going on from the early 2000s. So it's not kind of like a recent trend, but it's something that is just carried on, and you can see a very linear growth. But not only that, but it's also accelerating now. So it is thought that in the next couple of years, the actual online free time will outstrip the time that we spend, a free time that we spend outside, away from a computer screen. Okay, so these are obviously, what I'm trying to get to is that at the end of the day, the companies that sell something to you want to be seen wherever you are. Okay, so if you spend time going to the shops, then they will spend time having, on shop windows. If they see that their users are not going to the shops, but they're going on to, Sandbox or any other metaverse, then they spend time and resources in putting their brand in front of you in the metaverse. At the end of the day, what they want to do is attract customers. It doesn't really matter how they attract them, but they want to attract them in a way that you're interested in. Okay, so wherever you are socially, they want to be there as well. On other news, which is interesting, this is Binance. The largest crypto exchange is now granted a crypto license in France. Okay, so this is how if you listen to what happened to Binance last year, that was banned in many different countries. Now they put a lot of resources, that they employed many people to work on the compliance side of their business, and so they are starting now to have hubs in different parts of the world, and also to comply with regulation. And this is probably the first of the big countries that give them express approval and license for crypto. So it is good, not just, this is not just for Binance, for those of you that use Binance, but generally for crypto in general, because now more and more countries are realizing that crypto is here to stay. So they are creating now regulation around it. And this is, in a way, sometimes it can be hindering for crypto users from the early days that are used to kind of this freedom to do whatever they want, but at the same time, it gives it legitimacy. And when something is regulated, is then much less likely to say disappear, simply because now the authorities have realized that there is kind of like a cash cow there as well to use, and at the same time it's something where the people want to be, and so they want to make sure that users are safe and provide at least regulation to give them that assurance that the main players at least are being checked out, and they're complying with some minimum standards. Okay, now let me see some other few things. How much time have we got? So I'll do another 5 minutes, and then we'll start the questions. So get ready your questions. Now, interestingly, we're talking about NFTs, and that Coinbase has launched an NFT a long time coming. They've been working on it for 8 months, etc., etc. And then the big day of launch, it was completely a failure, so to speak. So the very little volume, people are just not interested. I mean, in the future, maybe it will grow to be used more, but all the NFTs community is just not interested, because they see as a central control that they don't really want. So this is a nice Twitter to say, it's been 2 weeks, raise your hand if you made a purchase on Coinbase NFT. As a matter of fact, raise your hand if you even logged in. Okay, so just that the volume is really tiny compared to OpenSea. So they just seen $75,000, where at the same time there was over 1 billion worth of transactions on OpenSea. So it just to show you that people are not silly. So and they do value the decentralization when it is easy and when it is available. It's not always available for everything, but when it is valued. Another bit of interesting news: California, which is one of the most important states in the US, and almost like looked as looked at as, as one of the top 10 countries if he was an independent country and had its own economy. They launched a new regulatory framework. At least they launched. I mean, they have announced that they're going to do work to produce a new regulatory framework to create a transparent and consistent business environment for companies operating blockchain, okay, including crypto assets and related financial technologies. So the harmonizes federal and California laws and blah, 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 blah. Okay. And why is this important? Again, it's realizing, okay, these things are here. People are putting good money behind it. So let's make sure that it is a safe place, and again, it complies with regulation. Now we'll see what this regulation looks like once it comes out. But at the same time, we must see that regulation for a market that's growing so quickly, it's a good thing, because we're going now for the hundreds of millions of users to the billions. Okay, and obviously, although the market has been, self-regulating for so long, but at the same time, there are many use cases now where the crypto is then interfacing with institutions and with central government, and there needs to be a way, kind of like an interface between the two. So some sort of regulation will be put in place. It would be better if there was a regulation that was, for example, for the US, which was the same across every state in the US, instead of each one having its own regulation, which will create again a minefield of dealing with cryptos in different regulation. But we'll see what it looks like once it comes out. And the last but not least, obviously, we couldn't do a crypto hour without talking about Cardano. And this is interesting, as this is IOG, which is the Input Output Global, which is Charles Hoskinson, which is the foundation founder of Cardano company, is developing a Cardano product, which is an authentication system. So they already have an identity program called the Atala Prism to provide digital identity. Now they want to do this similar thing for products. So providing what is called an Atala scan, which is set to allow consumers to verify supply chain information and the product's authenticity. So what's going to happen is, you see like a bottle of wine here. You would have a little scan, a little chip. That could be scanned with an app on your phone, and you can check that that product is authentic, because the solution is to battle counterfeiting, because there's a smart seal that knows when it has been tampered with. So it will add an encrypted auditable link between the seal and the full manufacturing history of the specific bottle, the specific product to which the seal is attached. Now, so this can be used by users like me and you with a free phone app, and this is obviously, this program will be built on top of the Cardano blockchain and use this touch chip technology. Now this is important because we're talking about, obviously we talk about crypto in a kind of like almost a theoretical way, but these are the kind of like real life use cases. And uses that are important because will improve what's already out there. So it's kind of like a some people find it difficult to understand, what do I use crypto for, apart from holding it and like an investment and going up and down in prices. Well, this is the technology behind it. Now the prices of cryptocurrency just like an asset that can go up and down, but these are the kind of like business use cases that would make a difference at the consumer level, and the ways that your life can be improved in a way by the use of a technology like this. Okay, and this is just one of the use cases, just one of the thousands of different use cases that there are in crypto, and this is why this technology will slowly make its way into everyday life and into products that you know and love. And often you might not know that this is based on blockchain and on crypto, because if you use an app on your phone and scan a little label on the wine bottle, you don't care that there is that all this is enabled by a cryptocurrency blockchain. At the end of the day, you use it, and this is just the technology under the hood. Okay, and this is the moment when crypto would have really reached maturity, is when you don't even know you're using it. Okay, at the same way that when I'm clicking here, when I'm clicking and going onto the internet, I'm reading this article on Crypto Globe, do you really care that this website is hosted on a cloud server rather than on a mainframe? You don't really, because all you care about is that you can click on something and it provides the information that you require, and you can read the article. So all the rest is happening behind the scenes. Okay, and this is what happened exactly in this case. So all this innovation will be delivered, behind the scenes in a way that you don't even notice. Okay, and just one use case that I wanted to bring to your attention, because this is going to, it's increasing its speed in a way, because more and more projects are then launching application of this type. And maybe one of the leaders in this technology has been VeChain, for example, which is kind of like a business blockchain, which works in putting businesses processes, manufacturing process onto a blockchain, so that you can do something exactly like this. So you can prove the actual journey of something that's being produced from its origin to the shop where you purchase it. Okay, so I think we covered all the things I wanted to cover today. Let's close this. Let's stop sharing and start taking some questions. Who wants to go first? Anybody has any questions for me?
Luca, it's Shamin. Just out of curiosity, what you just shared with us about Cardano and the QR code to verify these products, and it's on the blockchain, but from the point of view of the price of ADA going up, because somebody's doing it, a consumer will be doing it for free, I assume.
Yeah, well, sorry, what's that got to do with the price of ADA?
So how would that correlate with how the value of ADA goes up?
You don't use, I mean, as a user, you just see this is the technology basically that's provided, so you can see that these records are on the blockchain. So you just access the blockchain. You don't have to pay for it. But the business,
everything on the blockchain will be something you have to pay for.
Well, not if you're just reading it. If you're reading the blockchain, you don't need to pay anything. Just like going to a website and reading the information there, it's just publicly available. Once it's from the business, so the expense, it's a business expense for the business that needs to pay to, let's say, put their products on the blockchain. So it's nothing to do with you. From the point of view of ADA, you said the price of ADA, there is no direct relationship, but simply that the more people use the Cardano blockchain, and like any other blockchain for that reason, the more users there are, then the more demand there is for the for transaction fees, and for the coin to pay the transactions fees that on the Cardano blockchain is ADA. So more people use the blockchain, then the more demand there will be for the for its currency. Okay, and it's the same for all the other products, by the way, for all the other blockchains.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And Jonathan then is there on the background to tell me off if I say anything wrong.
Karen has her hand up. Luca, Karen has her hand up.
Yeah, Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hello, Luca. How are you doing on this fine Friday? Hey.
Fantastic. I can see the sunshine, outside my window. So today is a good day. Good day in the UK.
Good. I'm glad you have sun. We don't have that here in Wales. So I just wanted to check a couple of things. So it sounds as though with the markets being down, it's a good time to buy in. Are there any good ones to get into at the moment while the market is so down? Because I know like Bitcoin will only move a certain amount, but the altcoins will move a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what's going on with price at the moment, and although we, the on-chain metrics point to a supply shock, in a sense, we don't know exactly when that is going to to have an effect on price. What I can say at the moment is that we've gone back a couple of years in terms of not a couple of years maybe, but beginning of 2021 for prices of a lot of the big names. So in a period like this, I would use it if I was investing myself. Let's say to buy the big projects, not the small ones. Personally, because
top five kind of things, eh?
Sorry,
kind of the top.
Yeah, it depends on what you want to invest in a sense. If you're looking, depending on the actual sector that you're looking at. So obviously some projects are there in the top 10, some others that for smaller sector would be outside of the top 10. But still, I would, within each sector that you want to buy, I'll be looking at the the top projects on that sector. I wouldn't be looking for the kind of like chances. Not a time for gambling right now. It's a time to actually accumulate some very good coins for me.
Okay, fab. And just another little question, if that's okay. I just wanted to check if you've got any training on NFTs.
We do have it in AIW, Karen. Yes, we do have there's a full day on NFTs creation that was done. So it's available on the website.
Okay, website. Okay, lovely. Thank you ever so much.
You're welcome. Okay. So
Tim has his hand up, Luca. Tim.
Hi, Tim. Hello, Tim. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, hi. Thanks. I saw in June last year, I would do some Carver from Binance, and I've got the transaction ID, but I can't work out where it went to. How do I find out where it went? Just with the transaction ID.
Well, you say
and of course, an address.
So you sent it somewhere else.
That's right. Obviously it did, but according to Binance, I don't remember it, but I must have.
Yeah, if you sent it somewhere, it only depends where you sent it to. I mean, you should look at the at the address that you sent it to and see if it belongs to you. If you sent it maybe using the wrong blockchain, so that is not showing on your. If you sent it to a wallet, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what you have done with it, but with the transaction, you can put into a block explorer the transaction ID, and know exactly where it went, and then it's a matter of see the address, the code, and see if you recognize it. So I can this again in blockchain is once you've done a transaction, that transaction is final. Now if you sent it to yourself, maybe to your MetaMask, but on the wrong blockchain, it would just be a matter of either adding that coin to MetaMask or installing that particular blockchain on MetaMask. But if you sent it to the wrong address, to somebody else's address, there's no way of getting it back.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'll check that. So Block Explorer, is it?
It's depending on this. You've got to have a look. First of all, if you look at the transaction ID, if you click on it, it should tell you which blockchain you use. So you got to look at the right Block Explorer for the right blockchain.
Right, so for Carver, what would that be?
Well, I don't know what you used. So I don't know what from Binance. I mean, I don't have Binance open right now, so I don't know. How you would have sent it out. And Binance has changed a lot as well since last year. So now when you choose a coin to send, it automatically selects the blockchain that it belongs to. but I think last year you had to do it manually, and there was more of a chance of choosing the wrong one.
Right. All right, I'll check that out a bit more. Thanks.
No problem. Okay. Anybody else? No questions. So you're like satisfied? No worries. There's I've actually limited the number of articles. There's so much going on this week, but there's quite a lot of information online. If we know, as we're talking about Cardano, about the incoming, the incoming hard fork. Maybe Jonathan, I don't know if you wanted to quickly do an update on the Basel hard fork. If you there's something else, something new you can share.
Yeah, I don't think I have any new news. Everything seems to be proceeding as expected. So one interesting thing that happened a couple of weeks ago was that the code for the Vassal hard fork was declared as complete, which means that the code portion of that project is now done, and it's just a matter of thoroughly testing it throughout the network. So it really is looking all on schedule. And in fact, there's been a change of staff. Like there's been 3 prominent IOG developers on that team who have taken the opportunity to leave. And of course, as soon as anyone leaves IO, they get picked up by another company because they're in such high demand. And yeah, one of them just announced that they've joined the Cardano Foundation to run the community development team, which is very exciting. So the decentralized approach of Cardano is played out not only in its tech but also in its key staff members. So it's I couldn't be more confident in Cardano's future. as you know,
definitely. I think we all are. But it's what's interesting to see, especially in a time where the prices have carried on dropping. It's nice to see that the activity, the data that we can see on the network, it keeps going up exponentially, and as a kind of like a stake pool operator, how the blocks are going out now almost completely full, compared to 6 months ago.
Yeah, the saturation's up. There was another update a week ago. Increased block size from 80 to 88, another 10% increase, and nobody's machines blinked. And
so, and that's the other thing, we're kind of like the nice thing when we making a difference between reality and hype. All these new things that Cardano is doing, they're kind of like going on, they're happening without a glitch, pretty much. Yeah, sometimes maybe they come a little bit later than expected. Because of the way they do things, but they all, whenever they say that they're going to, something is going to be done on that date, and it happens, then it goes on without a problem. At the same time, we've had last week I don't know how many times now, saying the Solana blockchain had to be restarted completely, almost like somebody could, as an on and off switch, they can do. And that should worry you. That should worry you, because if you have that as an investment, then the possibility that somebody can physically stop and start the blockchain should actually worry you, because it talks about the safety of your asset. After all, these are digital assets. so it's something that we got to pay attention to. And if we compare it to maybe the closest thing of what Cardano has done, is kind of the merge, what the so-called merge of Ethereum, when they're going from proof of work to proof of stake, how many years has that been going on now? And there's at least since 2018 that they've been talking about this move and this merge, and it still hasn't happened. So we still don't know exactly when it is going to happen. I know that it's now closer, but just a touch of reality here, because the things in blockchain are the technology is hard. And sometimes, in a way, the approach that Cardano has taken which is the slow scientific approach of creating the base first and then building on top of it, has been vindicated, because they were being criticized for being too slow to begin with. Now, other blockchain projects, they have moved too fast and now got to do the same thing that Cardano has done, and they can't do it because it's hard. It takes a lot of resources. So it's almost like a stop and start where Cardano now can just move, and a bit like a slow moving, but it's kind of like almost like unstoppable movement, because they've done all the hard work. The other projects just simply haven't even started. And so that's the reason why I'm so excited about it. We put it as a long-term investment. Is for me, they're already future-proofed. So they have thought about all the things, and they produce research, independent research. They work with several universities to produce these bits of research has been peer-reviewed in most cases. So by people. So when something is peer-reviewed, you don't know who's produced that kind of research. So it's kind of like a scientist that's reading a piece of research blindly. So they're not being paid to review that. Okay, and so it has got particular value because it's something that's been peer reviewed and it's been basically past the industry standard. It is a solid piece of research that can be built on. Okay, so it's really interesting to see the project now developing and the ecosystem forming. Another bit of research, by the way, outside of Cardano, is concerning Polkadot. Polkadot is another project. I would say not. It hasn't as a scientific approach as Cardano, but again, it's another one that's built slowly, and now is starting to release. And they just announced that there will be easy transition of assets in between parachains, which is one of the main goals of Polkadot is interoperability between blockchains. And so they announced, first of all, interoperability between the different parachains, which is already a big. These are kind of technological advancements that are not easy to go into place. And for any of you that have tried moving assets across blockchains, you know how that can be complicated. You know, so simplifying these actions is one of the things that is required to then attract the billions. You know, because there are still things that kind of bottlenecks. For example, one of the biggest bottlenecks in the industry is on and off ramp. Okay, how to move money from your bank account to crypto and from crypto to your bank account, because again, you know, many people use blockchain at the moment mainly as an investment vehicle. So you buy these things as an investment, hoping to sell them for more. But there are still limited the amount of things you can do with cryptos. But now that is accelerating as well. So there are more and more. We read today about Gucci. But there are more and more companies that are having direct. Accepting cryptocurrencies direct for payment, and that will increase the use cases. So people will be happier to hold cryptocurrency because they know they can spend it anytime they want. You know, the moment that you have to, then transfer it, put it back on your bank account and spend it, it's kind of like an extra step that makes things more complicated. Okay, so all this kind of like transaction between traditional finance and decentralized finance is one of the biggest bottlenecks that's being worked on by pretty much any projects in the industry, and in particular the ones that are working on stable coins, so then cryptocurrency can become easily used the same way they use money. So people can use it kind of to exchange value peer to peer easily. And there are now things that you can do literally with your phones and transfer money easily that way, or to buy things in the stores instead of using credit cards and so on. Okay, Shemin, do other holders have to take any action in time for their fork? No action whatsoever, right, Jonathan? So
I missed the question. Sorry, what was that?
So the question Shemin was asking, do other holders have to take any action in time for the hard fork? So,
oh, okay. Holders don't do anything. You just sit back and enjoy the ride. I just dropped a couple of links. Charles Hoskinson is starting to make it onto the mainstream news at last. So Fox Business interviewed him last week, which is a major turnaround because they would deride him at every possible opportunity beforehand.
Yeah.
So that's going well. And also dropped a chart of the smart contract activity since September, which was the last major hard fork.
that's great.
So
and actually, I watched the interview in Fox Business. If you want to watch it, guys, it's only a few minutes long, so it's not the usual 2 hours video that Charles does generally. So I think it's 5 or 6 minutes. So do watch it. It's a good thing. It just makes you realize how bloody clever the guy is as well.
yeah,
and he's got a depth that can make things easy, because he made it, obviously, to being on Fox. They don't do complicated. Fox is really it's talking to the lowest minimum denominator. Really. so it was to be really simple, but then you get on other platforms, and it can be as complicated as you want it to be. But that's the fun thing is that, Shemin, when there are these changes, it's kind of like just the announcement more than anything else. But it's such a non-event because it's just literally a switch. Okay, that's it. It's live now, and so you don't see any difference as a user. It just happens, and it's the thing is that the process is so smooth that you don't notice anything, and that's incredible achievement already that they've
as a quick example, I was in a call yesterday with the with IOG, the stake pool operator team, who were describing what would be necessary for the upcoming hard fork, and there was 220 people in the call, and that's representing a small portion of the 3,500 stake pool operators out there on Cardano. But 2,000 people not turning up to a call wasn't, no one batted an eye. It's like, yeah, it doesn't really matter if you don't even upgrade your nodes in time. We want people to, but it'll continue working even if you're on the older version. But if you want the most benefit, the best reputation as a stake pool operator, you need to upgrade. And the upgrade is simply a matter of swapping out. It's like upgrading a piece of software on a desktop machine now. It's just you swap out the binary, and it just continues to run smoothly. It's great.
Actually, I never asked you that, because as we come into the end of the thing, as there are no more questions, is that how difficult it is to be a stake pool operator from a technical point of view?
So if you have experience of running Linux computers, then effectively you're well on your way to being able to do it. So it's not hugely challenging. There are lots of people who are able. The hardest hurdle is just the amount of learning that's needed to get to that point. So you need to be able to work from a command line and run Linux commands and be able to compile software for Linux. But once you're there, then that's pretty much it. And then once it's up and running, there's maybe 3-4 hours each month of just maintenance, looking at things, checking over security patches, but other than that, it's fairly plain sailing. Most of the time is spent in calls, hearing about the tech and getting excited and speaking with your friends.
So I don't know if in the past I've heard there are some people even running on Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, there's still. So you could. There's an operator, Stoic Pool, who's actually sitting on the Catalyst Circle, admin representing the SPOs on the Catalyst Circle, and he runs a Raspberry Pi machine on solar energy, pure solar. So his running costs are actually zero, and yet he's running a node which is, he's good at marketing. He's got he's minting a block every epoch, so that's making him, a few £1,000s a month just from running a Raspberry Pi from his room. So yeah, that's a good return on his time he's taken to learn how to do it.
Fantastic.
And the same thing can be modeled in developing countries. So it's just a matter of the influence, the networks there, infrastructure there, stability in terms of connectivity. Then this could be running by anybody. It will really spread the wealth into far reaches of the earth. It's great.
So, but I just wanted to say that because to make people realize that don't need to have a supercomputer. It's just a Raspberry Pi is the simplest version of a computer you can get your hands on, and the cheapest also that you can buy, and still can run a full a full validation on Cardano. So it's it just shows you that this is the power of decentralization. So everybody doing that little bit, it just then sums up into like the same as a huge computer that does everything. So yes, Archie is sending out your stake pool fluid.
Thank you, Archie.
Yeah. And Jonathan also has you do your call every Friday, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. So if you want to put the link in the chat box, so Jonathan does a Discord session every Friday as well, talking about all things Cardano. So if you are interested, just follow the link, and it starts at 9:30.
Yeah, 9:30 after this.
All right. So thank you very much, and thank you all for coming on the call. And make sure if you have questions or things that you see during the week, then write them down and then bring them up here on a Friday, and we'll do our best to answer. Okay. So everybody have a great weekend, and I'll see you all again next week. Okay.
Thanks, Luca.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Luca.